This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but those of the program's hosts and callers, because it's time for the African American scene with Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. Wow, I know everybody is getting stir crazy by now, but it is what we have to do at the moment. Although some of my listeners are probably thinking, I don't know what I'm talking about, that it's all a hoax or whatever. Well, what I'm going to do tonight, I haven't done in a while. Since you're all pent up and housebound, I am going to make this a free-for-all kind of night. You can call up and ask me anything you want to ask me or talk about anything you want to talk about. And if I know the answer, I'll say I do. And you know me, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that too. I will tell you that over the past week, since the last show, I've done some research and some reading trying to understand why people support the president. I've been really trying to understand that. One of the things, though, that I'm fairly convinced of, and I got to tip my hat to the Republicans for this, they have painted an aura. I may have said this before, so if I did, please forgive me. They have painted an aura of being a Republican as being a member of an exclusive club. Now, I don't know how they did that, but it actually is quite brilliant. So people that say they're Republicans feel like they're in a very special society or group that they belong to. From my reading, that's what it seems to me. Because when I look at some of the interviews, and I read a lot of stuff where a reporter was interviewing people in Trump country and asking them what they wanted and what they expected from Donald Trump, they're not getting those things. But the unwavering support is undeniable for a section of the country. I would tell you, to your chagrin, that his support is diminishing. He's starting to lose support in big, giant chunks. On my way here tonight, I was listening to a poll, and it's still very early on. Now, I'm going to say that right off the bat. But the early polls got Biden up by 9 points. But here was the part that I found most interesting. Women with men, first off, he is losing them by 2 points now. And that was always his strong suit. With women, now listen to this, because the person that was saying this was a former Republican campaign manager. He's losing women by 20 points. She said, when I was working on a campaign, if I saw that demographic of 20-point loss to women, I would think that I was in big trouble and that we needed to do something pretty radical to turn that around right away. But imagine that, 20 points from women. So, but anyway, it's open, and if you want to talk about being shut in or things that you miss doing and that you'd like to do, please feel free. That phone number is 340-1590. That's 340-1590. I will tell you this, that when they first did the shutdown, I went out and bought myself, I think I told you this before, I went out and bought a total gym machine because I could no longer go to LA Fitness and do my aqua aerobics classes and go work outside. I bought a total gym. Boy, am I glad I did that. And since I bought it, the price has gone up about $200. So I think everybody was trying to get some equipment so that they could get some exercise at the house. And what I heard from one of the doctors say yesterday is you should try at least, especially in this time of inactivity, to do 3 days a week, at least 30 minutes of exercise. So, and I do my little, and boy, let me tell you something. You look at the commercial and it looks like, oh, that's a breeze. Well, let me tell you, it's a lot harder than it looks. And I'm huffing and puffing by the time I finish working out on that thing, Cliff, you know. And I got the washcloth out there daubing my head. But I'm glad I have it because, you know, it also allows me to take my mind off of something for a few minutes. Again, that number is 340-1590. Now, I don't give you this opportunity very often. You can call up and talk to me about anything you want to talk to me about. You can call up and argue with me if you want to do that, because some of you I haven't heard from in a while that like to argue with me. Feel free if you want to call up. And I will say this other thing to you. I was going to ask Cliff to play this, but I decided against it in my better judgment. I was sent a video, and I don't remember what state it was, but it was a room full of Republicans, and the reporter was asking them how many of them would support Trump, and they all had voted for him. The entire room, which I guess was about 6 or 8 of them, said no. And I take that back. It was 7 said no. Let me make this correct. What it was that they said, how many of you were going to vote for Democrats? 7 said they were going to vote for all Democrats, and 1 did not say that. She was kind of quiet. She kept her hand down. But 2 of them, to my surprise, one of them is now actively working on Democratic campaigns. She's got a clipboard. She's been going house to house trying to get people to vote Democrat. Now, and I know my predominant members of my audience here are conservatives, so I don't know how you feel about that, but I saw that and I said, no, I'm not going to ask Cliff to play that because that is throwing salt in the wound. But I would just tell you, his falling off of support is nothing to do with Democrats, and it has everything to do with him. Well, listen, I just want you to tell me what you think. You tell me what you think, and I want to hear why you are still supporting Donald Trump. There's no right or wrong answer, and I certainly will not beat you up if you say that you are still supporting him. Maybe you got a $1,200 check, and because you got the $1,200 check, you feel it's worth it for you to continue to support him. And we got Steve. Steve. Yes, Steve.
Yeah, I got the check, but I'm not supporting him.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't know how anybody in their right mind could, after all has gone down. And it's like, I'm not blaming him for this virus. but I am blaming him for the way he's handled it.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think this is going to be a blue wave. I think it's going to be a blue tsunami. I really do.
I get I get that feeling too, Steve. I think this is going to be a bloodbath.
Well, I have relatives in Kansas and Nebraska. They're farmers, and they're staunch Republican, and every one of them now says they're going to vote Democratic. The farmers are getting kind of jostled around.
Yep.
And they don't appreciate that at all, because they could lose their farm that they've had with the family for 100 years.
Yeah.
Over the tariffs. And it's like one farmer said, he said, every time they mention the tariff and they say that China's got to pay it, he said, I scream at the radio, no, you dummy, we're paying it. You know, and that's true. We are paying it.
Of course we are.
And, the other thing I wanted to bring up was last week about the women in the Army.
Uh-huh.
Guess who the only country I could find that requires women to serve?
Israel.
At least 2 years. That's right. That's the only one that requires your women to serve 2 years, no matter what.
Yeah, I knew that. Israel, yeah.
Yeah. But I agree with you on this Trump thing. This is going to be a tsunami. I'm telling you. People that I know that are staunch Republican are saying, no way.
I know.
I can't do this again.
I think when he's come on there every night and giving those updates, and he just tells lie after lie after lie, I think people are just fed up. Even the people that love them, I think they're like fed up. That like the video I was telling you earlier that I saw. The lady said, and she's been a Republican all her life. She has never voted for a Democrat. She said, I don't believe anything he says. Nothing. She said, I'm at the point there is not a thing he could say that I believe. I go,
well, that sounds like my neighbor. He's like me. He's in his 70s. He was always a conservative Republican, but he said, there's no way I can vote for this guy. He says he's destroying our country.
That's what she said, too.
He's not building the country. There's no future here. He's destroying it. Now he wants to take away, he's got a thing in the Supreme Court to take away Obamacare.
I know.
And, the thing is if he does, they already said every hospital in America will be bankrupt within 60 days.
And this is one of the things that I find so peculiar, Steve. When I was doing this research and I read article after article, I'm looking and searching, trying to understand, most of the people said that health care was important to them. And he's trying to take it away. The very people that are supporting him are the ones that are probably going to get hurt the most.
Exactly.
By taking away their health care. I was like, so now I'm sitting there, I'm scratching my head and going, okay, you say these things are important to you, then why are you still in the tank?
I'll give you an example. About 15 years ago in Stewart, an illegal immigrant got in an accident, head injury.
I know about that.
Ran up over $1 million in bills.
Yeah.
And Martin Memorial almost went bankrupt trying to cover it. And they exported him, and the court said that we had to pay for his care out of the country since we exported him, even though he was here illegally and got hurt. But he almost bankrupted the hospital with one injury. Can you imagine if 500 people show up with no insurance? Because you got to treat them.
Well, and I happen to know about that accident because it was a Marine accident. It happened in the in a marina or in or around the marina. I know exactly the accident you're talking about because I was in Stewart at the time. Now, and Steve, you're so right. That is when I first started this show, right before Obamacare went into effect, I had Mark Robitaille on here. If you remember who Mark Robitaille, he was the CEO and director at Martin Systems down in Stewart.
Right.
And Mark was so gracious, he came on and did the show. And one of the things at the time they were contemplating putting in the Obamacare, he said, I agree. He said, I can't say it too loud because of where I'm located, but he said, it only makes sense for us. And, you know, I was on the board there too. And I saw the cost for uncovered people. It's astronomical.
You bet it is.
And people don't even realize how much that stuff it is.
Now, can you imagine if 500 people show up with virus 19?
Oh, yeah.
And there's no way to pay for them?
I agree.
We're done.
I agree.
Done.
So,
but it's going to take America to go vote and go show the Republican Party that we're no longer going to tolerate, because in my mind, the Constitution says you have the right to life. To my mind, that means you have the right to health care so that you can stay alive.
Listen, you know, I get accused on here of whining about health care, but that's another one of those things I've looked at, and you look at all of the major industrialized countries in the world give their people health care except for us.
Yep. Well, I'll give you a little secret. You know, I got injured super bad where I've had 44 surgeries. They have spent in excess of $1.5 million just on me.
Right.
But I had insurance, good insurance. But can you imagine if I wouldn't have had any insurance and I'd have got a bill for $1.5 million?
Oh, yeah. You'd be bankrupt.
I'd be on my way to Costa Rica.
Yeah, really, yeah. Look, a few years back, when I was out on the road searching for business, I ran into a guy who was an accountant right down US 1 night, right near J.J. Plum's. He had an office in there. And I was in there talking to him, and he told me, he said, I had to file bankruptcy. I said, what happened? He said, I had a heart attack, and I had no insurance, and it took me under. And I thought to myself, and I've been thinking about this ever since, why should that happen to an American citizen? You know, you got countries all over that provide health care. And I'm going to say something that I've heard Reverend Barber say, and I don't know if you know who Reverend Barber is, but he's one of my real heroes. And Reverend Barber says, a budget is a moral document. He said, it's a moral document. And I agree with that.
Sure.
It says what your priorities are as a country.
Right.
So,
and if your priority is not to keep your populace healthy, then you're not serving the populace.
Nope.
You're serving yourself.
Yeah.
But we all know that the bleach blonde bozo that we have in here now, he doesn't care about anybody. When he talks about, well, we're going to have 75, 100,000 deaths, expect some more deaths. I mean, this isn't like buying jeans at Penny's. These are real people. These are families that are impacted enormously. And he's treating it like it's an everyday occurrence.
Listen, when he said something that got me so upset, he was giving one of his news conferences, and he talked about, we're talking about people catching COVID and people dying, and he said, my ratings for my conferences are sky high. I thought to myself, you insensitive imbecile, you're talking about your ratings, and you're supposed to be talking about how we're going to be able to save people's lives.
Well, his 2-hour talks were campaigning.
Yes.
Since he couldn't go out and campaign, he did it as as a disguise that, I'm going to talk about the virus. Yeah, he talked about it for 2 minutes, and then for 2 hours he'd talk about his reelection.
Yeah, and so I don't know. But anyway,
I'm threatening to move to Chicago and vote twice.
Well, don't do that, because if they catch you, then you'll be in jail.
I know. I'll let you go.
Okay, Steve. Yeah, good talking to you too, man. Yeah, another faithful listener.
Well, Rudy, I got my Obama check.
You did?
Yeah.
I haven't got mine yet.
Yeah, well, you notice I call it an Obama check.
I know. I heard that.
You know why, though? What do we hear? Every president that ever comes along and does anything, everybody always says, but that's because of the one that was in there before you set it up so that you could do that.
Yeah.
so I call it my Obama check.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've heard of it before. I've heard other politicians in the past bring it up, but I never thought that anybody would ever really do that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Well, listen, I haven't got mine yet. I was asking my wife about it yesterday, and then I called my accountant about it last Friday.
Well, you're a small business. You have employees.
Well, I applied for that too, and I haven't got that yet either, the PPP funds. But I applied for that. It took me about 3 hours or so online, and I put the application in. That was last week, and I haven't heard anything. Maybe they ran out of money again, and they didn't get to me. I'm just a little guy, so maybe not.
That's the thing I'm a little concerned about, the running out of money. I mean, they just print more and pass it around, print more and pass it around. Doesn't it devaluate even more the more they do that?
Yeah, but one of the things that I want people to see is I think they're talking about doing another stimulus to the people. Now, we've been told for years. I can remember the other Steve calling me up and us arguing about this, about we can't afford to do this and we can't afford to do that and we can't afford to do this. Now, all of a sudden, we got money raining down from heaven to do all these things. The crime, and this is what my friend Dominic would say, is that the PPP was supposed to help small businesses like myself and Dominic and a little food store around the corner from me, Rocky, and all of those places were supposed to be able to get some help to help sustain them through this period. And the big businesses are still coming in and swooping up the cash. So, but again, we go back to what's the priority. If the priority is really to help the small businesses and the small restaurants, the people that support the neighborhood, because let me tell you something. If you haven't had kids around here playing sports in the ball fields, let me tell you who supports those places. It's the Rudy Howards and the Ashley's Bakery and the Dawn's Cafe. Those are the people that support those little $100, $200 you give to put a banner up or put an ad in a brochure or a program. Those are the people that support those businesses. And if anybody wants to disagree with me, I dare you call up, because I've seen it, and they're not shy about calling you either. The high school calls, can you put an ad in our upcoming yearbook or in our such and such program? We're getting ready to put a play on at the school. Can you put some money up in for that? So yeah. So when it comes to trying to save the businesses, you're not only just saving the business, you're also helping to save your community, because the people that help support the Little League football and the Little League baseball and the high schools for their programs, because they don't have all the money, are those businesses that are in trouble. So, and I got a email today. I'm in that link with Patriotic Millionaires, and they sent me an urgent email saying I need to call Congress because they're trying to pass the money to the large corporations, and it's not right. Now, if this is the first time you listen to me, you go on and Google patriotic millionaires, and you'll find out the patriotic millionaires are a group of multi-millionaire people who believe there's a financial imbalance in our country, and they're advocating, in some cases, to pay more taxes, but to create a more equitable situation as far as the economy is concerned. Now, I would tell you, and I have been saying this for quite some time, I am not anti-capitalist, but the system we have now is broke. And there has to be some adjustment to how our economic system is now playing out. If you look up the true definition of capitalism, if we were operating by the true definition of capitalism, I'd have no beef. But we're not. We are operating by the crony capitalism model. If you got enough money to have a lobbyist write some legislation for you, and then you get it into the hands of the congressional representative or your senatorial representative and get it on the agenda and get it passed, then that's where a lot of your juice comes from. A little guy like me, that ain't going to happen. I ain't going to write a bill and get it in there in order to get a tax break to help Howard Insurance. That's just not going to happen. But that's the way our system operates, and it shouldn't operate like that. If you know, they one of the big things that a lot of my listeners like to pick on me about is we can't pick winners and losers. No, I agree. I don't think we should pick winners or losers, but it should be a fair game. And it's not a fair game. And then one of my former conservative friends would say, well, you're naive because it's never going to be a fair game. Well, no, I don't think I am. I think it can be a fairer game. Maybe not perfect, but it can be fairer. And I would say to you, and I've said this once before, I think in the 70s, we were probably pretty close to a fair and balanced situation that I have seen in my lifetime in the 70s. I think it was pretty fair. Other than that period of time that we went through with the hostages and the trouble we had with Carter, for the 70s, for the most part, was a pretty balanced period of time where there was a relatively decent level of prosperity. Pay raises were, or most people received annual pay raises, and they were of a decent size. And I know because I was administering pay raises back then. So it's possible. It is absolutely possible. Again, that number is 340-1590, and I will talk about anything you want to talk about. Anything. You don't get this chance very often, so you better take advantage of it. So if you feel like you want to call up and try to beat on me, you feel free to do it. And give me something to think about. Because I promise you, I will think about something if you can turn me around in terms of what my normal thought process is with respect to a given subject. So that's for sure. But in any event, I would tell you that this has been, in many respects, what we're going through right now, I kind of feel like we're in the twilight zone. You know, it's just so bizarre the way everything is, and but somehow we will make it through because we always do. And we got Winnie.
How you doing today? You and Cleo?
Good. How you doing?
And all right. I went to Rocky store yesterday. I went to
He
Fort
told me.
St. Lucie up out there.
Yeah, he told
So
me.
Donald Trump put 1,200 biscuits in my hands. So
I know.
we okay.
Yeah, I know.
Ah,
He told me. He said when he told me she got $1,200, so she's voting for him again. I said, yeah, that sounds like winning.
my daughter, I heard that. I don't know how true I heard that they gonna give away some more money. I don't know. You heard about that? That's true.
I talked about that a little earlier. I think they are going to try to make another round of gifts to the bodies to the American people.
Yeah, okay. Somebody was saying, is it $2,000 this time? You don't know?
I don't know for sure, but let me just tell you this. If you go out and you look on the internet and look up coronavirus packages worldwide, we probably got one of the stingiest packages of all the other countries. I know. I think Canada's given $2,000 a month for 6 months.
I heard that.
Yeah, you heard that.
Yeah.
Now, I know. Yeah, there's other people given a large percentage of money for a period of time. But we have, in this country, there's this belief that we're rough, tumble, and rugged, and if you just don't give people any help, they'll find their way out, because that is the American way.
Now, you're right about that. My daughter, she works for a small business company. She do social worker, and they have applied for that business loan. Donald Trump them, and apply for it 3 times. The third time they got approved. So it helped, it helped with them. So they keep their employees working and and things like that. So I'm glad of that they got approved. They, applied 3 times. The third time they got approved. And that's good news, because, so some of them, they went under. I'm trying like the small bit, like there's some of the restaurants and things like that here, so they try to reopen them. And I hear Nancy Pelosi, she want to do another trillion, try to get some more money to, help them. Because some of them say they may not take over back, because it might be gone, might be gone for good. But if you want to get another trillion, so they can, help them to, open back up some kind of way. That's what I hear on CNN. I don't know. Anyway, it's all good, and whatever it is, all good, whatever. Anyway, y'all have a good day.
Okay, all righty. You take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. Winnie loved herself some Donald Trump. So, yeah, I actually saw the guy she's talking about. He's in a little corner store around the corner from me. And he told me, he said, I saw Winnie. I said, yeah. She said, I got that $1,200 check. I said, yeah, that sounds like Winnie. So, but it is important, I think, to try to save these small businesses. Again, that number is 340-1590. You're losing your opportunity to call up and talk about anything you want to talk about. 340-1590. Now, I will tell you the other thing that kind of rubs me raw. As tough as I think it has been in this country for black people, when it comes to the indigenous population, my God, they have just been so abused that it's just absolutely disgusting. I saw somebody was saying they haven't gotten any money. None of the indigenous tribes have gotten any money. This is their land, They haven't gotten any money. Puerto Rico hasn't gotten any money. I saw the mayor from San Juan. She said, we have got nothing. And I know some of y'all don't really understand this, but Puerto Rico is part of America.
Yeah.
You know? And they haven't gotten any money. So I feel my heart bleeds for the Indians, the indigenous people, boy. My goodness gracious. Whew. They've had it rough.
They do have a little capital, though. The reservations have the casinos.
The ones that have the casinos, but what about the ones that don't? Like that pipeline that they were going through I guess North Dakota or South Dakota, and they were going through the Indian burial land, you know, and
ooh, can't do that.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
And it was wrong, because you know what? Everything just can't always be about money no matter what. And we gave them that land after we killed them, put disease on them, and they have a passion for the environment and the land that far exceeds what most of us understand.
Absolutely.
Right. You know what I mean? They really do. They really worship the natural
They
resources.
have a high respect for the earth and all the elements thereof.
Yes, they do. And it was very, very painful for them to push that pipeline through their burial ground. And I'm sorry. You can call up and argue with me if you want. I don't care. I don't care if they had to move that pipe 10 miles out of the way. They should not have gone through that burial ground. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have happened. So, but anyway. And you know I'm not short on opinions, so, but that's just my opinion about that. I just feel so bad for them. When I heard that the other night, that none of the tribes have gotten, unless the person that was saying that was lying, then I'm like, wow. And then I saw the mayor from San Juan say that none of her people had gotten any of the stimulus money. And, you know, and Puerto Rico's been through pure unadulterated hell, you know, with the earthquake and the tornado and, oh, man. But any event. So I would say to you, what say you? Should we open up completely? Should we pull all the restrictions back and just let everybody go out and go back to work and go to the beach and whatever? Do you think that's what we should do now? I want to hear from you. 340-1590. I'd like to hear. Is that what you think? Is that what you think we should do? Or better yet, when they pull back all the restrictions, do you see yourself going to the movies?
I think the masks are going to be around for a while.
I think so.
Because there have been other pandemics in the past that came through. And I remember back in the late 90s, when it was bird flu, I guess. I would go to the post office to check my P.O. box mail, and everybody working in there had a mask on. And people were coming and going with masks on. I thought, this is strange. Little did we know it was going to come to this here now.
Yeah. I'll tell you, you know, I think a lot of things are going to be different. I know one of the premier things that we did at church was after the choir sang, there was always a period where we would greet your neighbor, and we would get up and we would hug each other and kiss each other on the cheek. I think that's pretty much dead now. And we got Jeff on line one. Yes, sir.
Hey, I like that Winnie lady. I think she's pretty cool. Yeah, baby. When I'm going to get my check, I want to get a check too.
Okay.
Oh, so are they going to do a round two on checks that you heard or what?
I heard same thing she heard. I think they're contemplating it. Not sure if it's going to happen or not, but I think they're contemplating.
It'll take forever.
Yeah.
You're right, Rudy. We need to straighten this mess out. It's a mess. It's a mess. Everything's a mess.
It is.
It's just not a mess. There's years of stuff that needs to be straightened out, and I'm telling you what, it's crazy. I mean, years of stuff that needs to be done. I mean, we need to reorganize this a little bit. Maybe a lot of it.
Well, Jeff,
anyway.
here's the thing that I found. I've been reading this book, which I should have been through by now, Understanding the Constitution. And in reading that book, one of the things that she says, she's a law professor, and her name escapes me at the moment, she makes the point that much of what we think is law is practice, normal practices that we have subscribed to for 100 years. And you assume that it's part of the fabric, but it's part of the fabric because everybody has respected that norm. So a lot of the things that have been broken are broken because there was no adherence to the norm.
Well, there you go. So, if, everybody's doing it, everybody thinks it's right,
Yeah, so what I think we have to do, and I think it's kind of sad to say this, but I think we have to probably put more structure in our government so that some of those norms can't just be eviscerated the way they have been.
Yeah, it's like when they were trying to get the money ready for these people, the people that really need it, people that are hungry out there, the American people that have lost their jobs and stuff like this.
Yeah.
We're worried about giving money to the dance place up there, in New York City. Why are we worried about that?
Yeah.
It's like they can get the money just like everybody else has got to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like any of these big companies, why they got, it's like, thank God the LA Lakers gave the money back, and these people are giving the money back, but why did they apply for it to begin with? Are they losing money? I mean, I guess they won't lose money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, time out here. Hold on a second. I mean, I know they're losing money too, but, it's like, let's feed people first, and then, make sure everybody's covered. Then we can worry about,
Jeff,
nonsense.
like I said, I think what's important, and I think people have lost sight of, is what I said earlier. Who supports the little leagues and the high schools? The little league baseball fields and the little league football fields. It's not Exxon and Mobil and
no, that's right.
It's Betty Joe's restaurant and Howard Insurance. That's right.
It.
That's it.
That's it.
They're the people that's supporting those places.
I still think you should run for president. You're denying us.
Oh,
You're denying us.
Jeff, I don't have the temperament. I know that weakness in me.
That's what you got that they don't have. You got a soul. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, but I don't have the temperament. I know me. So.
Well, I know you too, but I mean, I can get you upset at the drop of a dime. But the whole problem is, at least I get you upset. I mean, it's not like you're the. No. See, you come from the heart. That's why you get upset, because if you didn't have that heart in you, you wouldn't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. It's just weird, but I really do think you'd make a really good president, to be honest with you.
Well, thank you, sir, very much. I appreciate that. That's a very high compliment.
I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Okay, Jeff, thank you for calling. Appreciate you. That was a pretty high compliment. I'd be fired probably after the first month. After I got finished cussing people out. And we got Paul on line one. Yes, sir.
Hey, Rudy. Glad to hear you in there.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's safe in your family, I hope.
Yes. Everybody's doing
good.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
How about you?
Hey, there's a little ditty on the radio somewhere on one of the talk shows that China's like they were producing masks and stuff like that, and now they're what they used to charge for 10 and 15 cents for a piece. They're charging like $15 or something. It's really, really crazy.
I've heard that, yes.
Yeah, and you know, the other funny thing is, I don't know if you looked at your coins lately, but I just got one of the new quarters, and it's the newer quarters have like an animal theme. Well, the new quarter for 2020, the animal on the back is a bat. Can you believe that?
You're kidding me.
I mean, what else? You know, all these little crazy things.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'd mention that to you because I looked at that, and it's not really funny, but I laughed. I said, you know, why am I not surprised? I don't know.
I don't know. Is that you're telling me, is that the dawn of a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You know, either that or a very, very big coincidence. Either way.
Are they baked or barbecued?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but now you got me curious. I'll be looking for a new quarter to see if there's a bat on the back.
Yeah, do that. And before I go, glad to hear Winnie's in there, and she's all right, too.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to tune in lately, so. But, all right, well, you guys take care, and I'll continue to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
You realize that Winnie's going to get so popular, there might end up being a spin-off to this show with Winnie in it at some point.
Well, Winnie's a faithful listener. Even though she disagrees with me, she's a faithful listener. You know, and she loves her some Donald Trump. And I certainly don't hold that against her. You know, so but it's all good. It's all good, but we do have to make, I think, when this crisis is beginning to fade out, we are going to be doing things a lot more different than we ever have. I don't think there'll be much handshaking anymore. There'll be a lot of fist bumping and elbow bumping.
Butt bumping?
Yeah, butt
Remember
bumping.
the bump?
Very well.
That'll probably be my preferred form of greeting.
Yeah, butt bump, yeah. Long as you butt bumping a young lady, not a bumping a guy.
Well, you got to be careful because we don't want to knock them young ladies down. We want to be gentle.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I think things are going to change, and I don't think so. I know some things are not going to make it. And I got to tell you, you know, my wife and I was talking about it last night. She said, well, when the gym opens up, you don't have to use your total gym anymore. I said, I don't know that I'm going to go back there anytime soon. And she said, no. I said, no, I don't think so. Because, you know, all that sweating on top of that machine, and I always had a towel with me, but, you know, the sweating all over the machine and everything, I don't think so. It's just like with when I played basketball. When I think about basketball, when you're playing in a basketball game and you're playing against somebody and you guys are running up and down the floor, you're sweating all over each other and rubbing your funky selves against each other, boxing out.
Wrestling rings and boxing matches.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Spit and sweat flying off with every swing, every...
That's exactly right, yeah.
Wow.
I'm saying, I don't know about that either.
It describes the word clash.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I don't have to worry about basketball anymore because those days are behind me. There ain't no basketball in this body.
Can't jump as high as you used to.
I think not at all. Not at all. So, but anyway, I think as we move forward, we have to change our mindset. And you know, even you think about the movies, they don't come in and wipe down the seats after people leave. So,
and if you've ever been to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, they trashed the theater completely on that one.
Oh, man, I haven't been there.
They make a big mess. Oh,
that's probably been 40 years since I've seen one of those.
wow.
Yeah, that.
I didn't know that you were supposed to wear a raincoat, and I got suckered into going one time. And my goodness, it was at the Sunrise Theater, and I'll bet you they've never allowed that movie again ever since. That was the one everybody trashed the theater every time.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Great show so far. You had some nice calls.
Yes, absolutely. You don't get this opportunity very often, so I will be back to myself next week, and I'm going to endeavor to get my college mate, who's a retired police officer, to be my guest. He's up in Connecticut, and I'm going to try to get him to join us on the phone. He's writing a book talking about his experience as a police officer, as a retired police officer, and he's agreed to do it. I just got to let him know when, so I'm going to hope that I can get him to come on next week, because that'll be a little different to hear from my friend Keith, who we called KK in school, play basketball against each other.
All right.
So, yeah, but other than that, I want all of you to stay safe, be careful, God bless, and I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American Scene.
Wash your hands and wear your masks, and continue, if you're going to err on the side of safety and public health. By the way, there are archives of this show, The African American Scene, on YouTube under WPSL TV. Join Rudy Howard every Wednesday night in the 6 o'clock hour for The African American Scene, and join in with us on the show while you're here. Thank you for joining us. One more thing, this is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.